Hi, everybody. Welcome to Everyday Hockey. I'm Greg.
And I'm Dale. Welcome, everybody. And hey, did the latest snow leave the ground in Regina on the May long weekend?
Every year, I think these people that go camping on the May long weekend in Saskatchewan, what are you even thinking? And yet people still do it, Dale. And we've got some snow. There's no doubt about it. Mostly on the roofs, so not so much on the ground. I went for a
Well,
walk this morning and there's nothing on the ground, but a bit on the roof. So here on in though, it's gonna be great. By the end of the week, it'll be back up to 19 or 20 degrees, and so yeah.
I hear you because now I'm ready to change my winter tires over.
Okay. Holding off until now. Actually, I did my daughter's last weekend. It was an interesting thing. You do the tires, and then you hear from my wife who says, "Well, Emily asked, did Dad do it right?" I'm going. I've changed your tires for like 6 or 7 years here. What are you talking about? Did I do it right? And the next day, she ended up with a flat tire,
Ah,
and she went, "Uh huh, Dad. Yeah, uh huh. Yeah. Well, when I took the tire off." It had a piece of glass stuck in it, which she obviously drove over somewhere. So, okay, not my fault.
exactly.
I put a plug in it, fixed it for free, by the way.
Right. No, your records. That's perfect.
PWHL, Dale, there's been a bit of news.
Yeah, I'd say lots of really positive news, like from the All Canadian final to what's happening with expansion. It's pretty
So,
cool.
yeah, expansion. We've got four new teams to add to the eight that are already there. So the eight original teams: Montreal, Ottawa, Minnesota, Vancouver, Boston, Toronto, New York, Seattle. And I shouldn't say original because Vancouver and Seattle came in last year,
Right.
but those were the ones that were in place this season. And now we've got four new ones: Hamilton, Detroit, Vegas, and San Jose. I've heard a little bit about the management. I believe Detroit is going to be general managed by Menon Rayon. Do you recognize that name?
Yeah. She played an exhibition game for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think she played. I don't know if she played half a game or not, but she did well.
She
And
was
then
the very first woman to ever play in the NHL, first and only, I believe, so far.
yeah, she is. And then she was a Team Canada goalie for a while.
Yeah, so a pretty good pedigree there. She knows her stuff, I would think. When it comes to women's hockey, for sure, and has lots of contacts and that kind of thing. So she's in Detroit.
Yeah,
Um,
she's kind of an icon to me. Like she she's had a pretty good career, and for her to get this general manager job that's pretty cool.
yeah, yeah, it's nice to see that women who came up through the hockey ranks back in the day when it was really difficult, you know, are being recognized for the effort that they put in and being given positions that they should have,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
the hockey world, the NHL for sure, is a nepotistic beast.
Yes, it is. It sure is. Yeah, it's interesting with you saying that because I I've been thinking like the the Oilers situation with their coaching. A lot of teams do this where they'll have their coach still on the payroll, but if they'll be sending out feelers on other coaches. And when the Oilers sent out the feelers on Bruce Cassidy, who had been fired from Vegas, I my theory, this is a theory of a couple of Saskatchewan boys from the same district protecting themselves. And I think it was Kelly McCrimmon who went, "What? You're looking at Cassidy and you still have Knobloch who's going to be starting a 3-year contract? Don't go there. Don't you're he's a good guy from close to my home and don't be doing this to him." So,
Hmm.
yeah, that's my theory. I know. Um, and I mean, I know Elliot Friedman has 100,000 listeners on his podcast, and I think we have 65. So, and you guys in Vietnam, I'm telling you, you got some inside info there.
Speaking of, if you'd like to be subscriber number 17, we'd sincerely appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We
Hit
would,
that
we
hit
would.
that button.
We're trying to grow it, and we're trying to stay really original too. Like um, things that you're hearing on here are not necessarily what you're going to get from other podcasts. And I also, you know what? I just wanted to say a big thanks to Angus McMillan, our sponsor, ASAP Windows and Doors. Right now, with every subscription to our podcast, you'll get a deal. Get a hold of Angus at ASAP Windows and Doors, and he'll also send a donation to the Heart and Stroke Foundation or Stars Air Ambulance. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Angus. And as far as we know, ours, Everyday Hockey, is the only podcast that Angus sponsors.
It is.
That makes us super special.
That's right. That's right.
Thanks a lot, Angus. Okay, now just a couple of more things about the PWHL.
Yes.
We went off on a bit of a tangent there. The draft day is coming up on June 17th in Detroit. Now, my daughter Erica is one of about, I believe it's in the 235 range of women who have declared for the draft. A little over 106 positions, new positions, have opened up with the expansion. Included in that draft, and what I know about the draft is this. In order to be considered a free agent in the PWHL, you have to have at one time declared for the draft.
Okay.
Therefore, what I believe has happened is there's a whole bunch of girls that maybe aren't ready to play, maybe are doing it just take a chance on it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
For sure, there's some of those in the 235, 236, whatever, that have declared for the draft. Here's an example of a player who has declared for the draft. Megan Augusta, Olympic champion, longtime member of Team Canada, 39 years old, working as police officer in Vancouver, and has declared for the draft. Maybe PWHL Vancouver takes her.
Exactly.
She's got 2 kids and a husband who works as an police officer in Vancouver as well. Is she willing to give it all up for $56,000 and a move to Detroit? Probably not.
They do need police officers.
Well, that's true.
That's pretty cool. Like, this is going to be good. I'm really excited for Erica. Just the chance to go to a training camp.
Well, yeah, and her agent asked, like, would you think about going to Detroit for the draft? And you know what her answer to that was? Absolutely not. Who would put themselves through that kind of stress, especially if you're not like top 10 or whatever, right? Like to go to Detroit and sit in the stands and wait for your name to be called, 111th.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of emotional stress you don't need. What she heard from her agent was most of the GMs will likely only be interviewing their top 30.
Okay.
So they'll interview their top 30, and then everybody else might be just a surprise. So what we're thinking is that with her being the age that she is, with the experience that she has, she should be able to help some team hit the ground running.
Right.
Somebody who has experience playing professional hockey, somebody who has been a proven team leader, has been a team captain and things like that.
And has a champion pedigree.
She does. She has won, a Canadian championship with the University of Manitoba and has played with a lot of other champions in the Swedish league. So,
plus a lot of Olympians.
Oh, a ton of Olympians. I mean, She went to the Olympics this past year to watch all of her friends play in the Olympics.
No, that's cool. That's, for me, I'm just really excited for it. I'd love to see her get an Upper Deck card. That would be sweet. I don't know. I think that's the pinnacle.
Dale, this week we've been going through a lot of stuff in our house, trying to downsize a little bit, and I ran across a couple of jerseys from a camp that Erica went to called Safe and Fun Hockey. It was put together by Hockey Canada. The two guest coaches that came to this event were Bobby Orr and Cassie Campbell.
Man, that's pretty cool.
Like,
Like
like
Hall of
wow.
Famers, right?
Like I said to Erica, I said, "Do you remember that?" And she goes, "You know what I remember?" She says, "I remember walking in and there they were sitting at the table. And there's Bobby Orr saying, 'Hi, how's it going?'" It was kind of cool because he remembered her. He remembered her when he was out on the ice. I think he ran a couple of drills or something like that. And I remember him saying, "Erica."
Wow.
Yeah, which was kind of cool, you know.
That is
Hey,
really
hey,
cool, man.
there's Bobby Orr saying my daughter's name. Like, wow.
Oh my God, that guy. Like to me, watching him play like growing up, you can talk about Gretzky and Lemieux and Crosby and McDavid after all the great players that have come after Orr, but man, Orr, I hard to argue if he's not the greatest player of all time.
Certainly one of the greatest players of all time. And what I really liked about Orr too was integrity.
Oh, I love
He
it.
for me he was Canadian integrity in hockey, where he wasn't the loudest guy. He wasn't the guy out there two-handing somebody across the face or something like that to make a point. He was a guy who, scored a goal, gets flipped up into the air, lands, celebrates with his team, and then goes back to the face-off.
When you go on YouTube and watch Bobby Orr highlights
Hmm.
and you see him like penalty kill where he takes an entire 2 minute shift and he keeps the puck. No one
Yeah,
can get the puck.
yeah,
But other times where he goes through the other team and scores, and then he'll put his
yeah,
head down because he's embarrassed them.
yeah.
And the thing I liked about Orr that I find really interesting is Johnny Busick was the captain of those Bruins teams when they won the Stanley Cup, and
Hmm.
Orr rarely had even the assistant captain on him.
Hmm.
And I think he recognized it's like that's not my role in a way. He's a good player, and everybody knew it. Connor McDavid reminds me of that too, where he was kind of given that captaincy. Do you turn it down? To me, McDavid, I think because of his personality, reminds me a lot of Orr that way, where I think he'd be happy not to be the captain if you
Hmm.
if you actually asked him. And to
Right.
me, Draisaitl is a captain. He's just the way he carries himself and talks and stuff. But anyway, I know a lot of new hockey fans are newer. Well, not new, but people born after me, after I graduated high school, things like that
Yeah,
will
that's not new
probably,
anymore, Dale.
yeah, that's not
That's
new, but
already darn near old.
yeah, that's old, and they're gonna say, "Oh, you're full of crap." But I believe it. I just McDavid seems like a very soft-spoken guy, and I think when he's put in that role like that reminds me of War. One of my favorite things I've seen of him is some of the Boston area people and
Hmm.
celebrities.
Hmm.
I think Bill Burr is a big Bobby Orr fan and Bruins fan, but Howie Long, Howie Long, who's like, how many years has he been on Fox on the NFL? And Howie Long is an NFL Hall of Famer, and he was such a huge Bobby Orr fan that, in fact, he actually said that growing up, he didn't think of football. He wanted to be Bobby Orr
Hmm.
because Orr turned that town on like just like nobody's business. Well, it already was an original six franchise, but it just became something more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Final comment about Bobby Orr. When I was a kid, what I remember was if you were playing shinny in the backyard or on the street or whatever, if you took one to the knee, what was your first thing that came out of your mouth? Oh man, I got a Bobby Orr knee.
I got one more story, and
Okay.
so 1975, I'm in grade five. That's the big year that I really start getting into hockey card collecting, where I'm actually going after the entire set.
Right.
And so I have a friend of mine, Rob Wojciechowski in Vermilion. Rob's got a Bobby Orr card, and meanwhile, I got a bunch of cards. in those, remember those world famous chocolates where we used to have to sell chocolates to raise money for the
Oh
schools.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
So
yeah.
I got an empty chocolate box full of cards, like probably over 100 cards. Good cards in there too, like Gilbert Perrault, other stars and stuff. And I came up to Rob and I go, "Hey man, I'll give you 100 cards for that or card." And he did the deal. He did the deal, and I was so happy. But then I went downtown that day because we had a Red Rooster just about four blocks from our school. Buy a pack of cards. I get Bobby Orr in the pack.
There goes Gilbert Perrault.
Oh, Gilbert Perrault and Rene Robert, I think I had. And, yeah,
Luck of the draw, right? Luck of the
luck of the
draw.
draw.
That's cards.
Oh, for
So,
sure.
what's the prevailing attitude in Edmonton these days? Does everybody want the season to start again, or does everybody need a break?
Fans want the season to start. This is really, really good for McDavid and Draisaitl and Zach Hyman, who was injured. Everybody who's hurt. It's a This is really a really good time just to rest, recover, heal up. It's funny because Evan Bouchard and Darnell Nurse are playing for Team Canada in at the World Hockey Championship,
Hmm.
and Nurse is playing really well. Nurse is getting a lot of points, and Bouchard, same thing. Bouchard, in fact, somebody commented, like a real high profile influencer in the NHL mentioned, "Gee, Bouchard would have looked good on the Olympic team on the power play." But anyway, that's good news, especially for Darnell Nurse. Like it's bad. It's like get off his case. I know he gives the puck up, and sometimes the puck like deflects off him and stuff, but come on.
He is an
Uh,
NHL player, and he deserves to be where he is.
he
Um,
is. He is.
what I've heard about that Team Canada team, Celebrini was the captain, and then Crosby showed up, and there was a little bit of debate about whether or not Crosby should end up with the C. But
Right.
Crosby, kind of like the Bobby Orr of old, has a little bit of class and says, "No, no, you're the captain," and
Yeah.
and give this young kid his due. He's a great player, and he's going to be captain in the future as well. Why not right now? And so that I appreciate that about Crosby as well. That same sort of I'm going to mentor, but I don't have to have the C on my jersey in order to have an influence on the team.
You know what? Just absolutely love that. Love that about Crosby. Love everything about that guy. What else can you really say? Like total class act. Just total
Total.
class. Yeah.
Total. Okay, now speaking of class acts, let's talk a little bit about the coaching situation in Vegas. You may have recognized, for those of you who have been listening, from the very beginning, all three of you, I appreciate it. Um, Sometimes we take shots at the Kachucks, and occasionally I will take a shot at John Tortorella for his coaching style.
Yeah.
This past week, the NHL fined John Tortorella $100,000 for refusing to be a part of the media scrum after they won. Your thoughts on that, Dale?
Um, well, they were protesting. They were protesting the suspension of one of the players. I forget. McNabb. I think
Mm-hmm.
McNabb.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's interesting. I didn't think the NHL would do that to them. I thought Vegas was untouchable. Yeah.
I looked it up, and Tortorella in previous iterations wherever he was, like in Philadelphia, and up to that point he had been fined $95,000 total for the same kind of behavior,
Right.
refusing to be a part of the media scrum and all that kind of thing. And Tortorella is known for sitting up there and just giving really
Oh,
ridiculous answers to legitimate questions and I get it. He's one of those guys. He doesn't like to play the media game, but at the
right.
same time, the fans make this. The fans expect that you're going to treat them with respect,
Right.
and he just doesn't. Now, I would argue that he also doesn't treat his players with respect.
Right.
And what I'm thinking is that somebody in the media scrum was going to say to him, "Hey, Fonzie, if you guys win the Stanley Cup, do you think you should have your name put on it?
Yeah, yeah,
Because you were here for like what 18 games or something like that.
right, right. You know, he had some legendary battles with Larry Brooks from the New York Post when he was
Hmm.
in New York, and Brooks never backed down ever. I don't know what to make of that thing. The only thing I can really think of is he'll Tortorella will probably become a local legend in Vegas, where Wolfgang Puck will serve an Italian dish called Tortorella, and
With cheese on top.
yeah, yeah, exactly, with lots of cheese. But you know, actually, I got to tell you, one of my proudest moments on Twitter is I made some comment. It was Oilers and Rangers, I think, or something, and Larry Brooks from the New York Post reached out to me and sent me a direct message. So we had a quick conversation. It was a thrill. Like, and
Hmm.
he just passed away this past year, and but it was like, wow, Larry Brooks, man, I'm talking to Larry Brooks. Get out of here.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
too cool. So yeah, some of these guys that think that they're bigger than the game, it's very humbling. Which kind of, you mentioned the Kachucks, and it's like their podcast, and their dad, when their dad was on while it was, I think, regular season or early in the playoffs, and he was cutting down the goalie for Ottawa, and it's like, you know what? Don't do that. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, I don't know. I I, I'm not. I'm kind of a fan of the players we're getting to see, that like different sides of players like that, but it's kind of like, wow, that crossed the line to me. It's like, don't go there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, on your own son's team.
On your son's team, who probably is going to ask out of
Yeah,
Ottawa.
yeah.
So
He keeps claiming that he's not, but we'll see. We'll see.
yeah,
Time will tell. Time will tell.
something that I wanted to bring up on the podcast is oftentimes when we're watching Hockey Night in Canada or whatever, or TNT or ESPN feeds through Sportsnet, we see the commercial 1-800 Cars for Kids.
Now, okay, right. I sent you that article where there's somebody in California. They pulled the commercials because apparently this guy thought if I donate my car, it's going to go to a local charity who will then use the proceeds to benefit children.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he found out that wasn't true at all.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
even know. Can we sing the jingle, Dale, and still get through the vetting process on YouTube? Like we don't want to to break copyright here, but yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so I mean, how does it go? 1-800 Cars for Kids. KAR. That's Cars for Kids. They don't even know how to spell, Dale.
Well, what's really interesting about the recording of that song is how the kids sound so negative. Like they're so monotone, and it's like, and then it's like yeah, and they're all outfitted with all these really cool instruments, and
None of them are
yeah,
playing.
none of them are playing it.
Yeah. Like, come on. There's what's that School of Rock
Oh, I love that.
franchise. I mean well,
Yeah,
there's the movie, and then there's the franchise. And they've
yeah.
got, and like, locally in Regina here, I've seen them perform, and there's young kids playing instruments really, really well. Don't tell me that you couldn't have found some kids that could actually play the instruments and sing the song. Don't tell me that, Dale. Don't force me to listen to that crap.
Yeah, it's funny about that commercial. Every time it would come on, I know that you and I had worked on commercials early on in our careers together, and I worked on commercials after that, some television commercials, and it's funny because you're at a cocktail party and you go, "What do you do for a living?" "Oh, I make commercials." "Oh, did you make the 1-800 Cars for Kids?" Because it's the worst thing I've ever seen. It's like, oh, thanks for painting me with that same brush. I appreciate it.
Well, yeah, they talk about the earworm. Well, that one burrowed into my brain.
Oh, that's a thing. It's like, and I hate to be a critic because I know, working behind the scenes for some ad agencies, sometimes the client has too much of a say over the end creative product. I'm waiting for a commercial to sweep me off my feet in the NHL playoffs, and I haven't seen one yet.
No. The only one that I found remotely entertaining is that Instacart one where that guy jumps off the where they're playing and him and his
Oh yeah,
partner, he gets so upset because his partner's hitting the high notes and doing backflips, and so he climbs
right.
up the
Takes out the
stairs
drummer.
and takes out the drum. Okay, so that one's pretty funny.
That's pretty good. I think that was a Super Bowl ad that
Yeah,
they launched it at the Super Bowl and they've just been running it. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No, that
yeah,
that
you're
one
right. Yeah, there's that one for sure.
that one's pretty funny. Okay, let's wrap it up today with a little. I don't know if it's a parenting tip or so much as a difference between training boys and girls. Okay,
Cool.
so this is what I'll say, because I've had obviously Andrew, through hockey, and then Erica through hockey, and Emily as well through hockey. Boys like to just experiment all the time. They're always experimenting. They're just playing. They're just out there just trying to be athletic.
Yeah.
Girls like to be taught how to do something and then practice it until they're good at it.
Okay.
So I think, when coaches go into coaching girls hockey, you have to be really, really obvious about your instructions with the girls. And with
Right.
boys, you have to say, boys, get back into the corner. Wait till I explain the drill. Boys, wait. Wait till I explain the drill. No, don't just go skating to center ice and shoot at the goalie. No, wait.
Right.
Let me
Right.
explain the drill first, and then I have to blow the whistle 17 times because not a single one of them was listening.
That's a
but
that
but
is
the
that's
girls
really
are, yeah.
that's excellent insight. That's exactly. Yeah. It's like
And I think that's one how sometimes the girls tend to develop later, mostly
right.
because they don't tend to experiment as much. And I'm not sure what the reason is for that. I mean, there's emotions involved, and I mean, for gosh sakes, I was going back and forth and coaching both boys and girls, and with boys, you had to be loud
Yeah.
and kind of, you know, really specific about your instructions with them. Otherwise, they just would do whatever. And I remember being accused by the girls of yelling at them. A couple of the players say, "Well, you're always yelling at us." And it's like,
Right.
whoa, I wasn't actually yelling. I was speaking loud so everybody could hear.
Right.
But they put so much into facial expressions and emotions and the tone of your voice and all that. They had to be really careful about that. Otherwise, they would think that you're yelling at them, and then emotionally would have a difficult time with the
You
way
know,
they felt like you were treating them. And and
right.
and literally, Dale, I wasn't actually yelling at individual players. I was just giving instructions loud.
Right. Right. That makes sense. So much sense.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
It
if
reminds
you're
me of, I remember in minor hockey, yeah, that's exactly right about the boys, because I remember even some kids, we were getting ready for practices and stuff, and even before drills, um, once you got the go ahead to go start skating, everybody was like battling tops. Remember that old game from the 70s, from I think from Kenner? Uh, it was like all this chaos, battling tops, just boom, boom, just yeah, all over the place. Kind of that's what it reminded me of. But yeah, that makes total sense.
just the difference, boys and girls, as far as coaching goes. There's
No,
lots of
for
other
sure.
differences. There's a lot of other differences, Dale, but we won't get into that here on Everyday Hockey. If you would like to be a part of Everyday Hockey, well, we accept guests on this program. You could email us at everydayhockeypodcast@gmail.com. We have a website too, Dale.
That's right. Everydayhockey.ca. So we encourage you to visit there. And also, just wanted to give another quick shout out if you want to get some quality windows and doors and get an everyday hockey discount. Contact Angus at asapwindows.ca. And Angus, thank you for being our sponsor and for your encouragement.
All right. Comments, send us some. We'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if anyone's got a great recipe for tortorella, let us know.